The Secret Life of Pets 2. Yes, it's time to check once again how some crazy domestic animals in New York live their lives when their owners aren't around. When the first movie came out back in 2016, it was a relatively enjoyable experience. As an animated film, I wouldn't say it was great, especially how the plot is basically Toy Story but with pets, but it did well on its own with some solid animation and a large cast of funny and memorable characters. Far from the best, but it is cute and mostly harmless. Even with those who didn't like the film, we can all agree that there have been much worse out there worth steaming over. However, one trick these pets surprise people with the most is how they made the film so profitable. Seriously, no one expected that a bunch of pets would become such an animated phenomenon. But what didn't come as a surprise is that they made more than enough to come back for an encore and bring along some new friends into the mix. So now that Max and the gang are back for more domesticated madness, is the sequel a good boy, or is it time to put Bob Barker's advice to good use on this franchise? Let's find out. The story. With the sequel to The Secret Life of Pets, it comes with good news and bad news. The good news is that it won't be ripping off Toy Story and has plenty of other ideas to tell a fresh and new story. The bad news is that it wants to tell all of them at the same time. With its large cast of memorable characters, there isn't just one plot to follow that all of them get involved with. There are three that the feature always has to simultaneously juggle. The first is about Max, who wants to learn how to be brave after always being a nervous wreck about looking out for his owner's new kid. The second is about Gidget, who needs help from other pets to retrieve Max's favorite toy that ended up in a cat lady's apartment. And finally, there's Snowball, who teams up with a new character named Daisy to save a tiger from a circus. Considering how it is from Illumination Entertainment, I do understand why they wanted to try this approach for the storytelling. They've already had experience in telling several plots at the same time in movies that had numerous of main characters like Sing, so it wouldn't be hard to imagine that they had the confidence to do the same with pets.
Buckle up, everyone!
Unfortunately though, it doesn't seem to work as well with this one. The problem with the story is that there's little to nothing that connects these plot lines to one another. Sure, it technically all comes together at the climax, but for the most part, it's like if they took the 3 mini-movies from their DVDs and Blu-rays and just cut them up, mixed the scenes together, and sell it as a movie that constantly hops from one plot line to another. But what makes them worse is that the stories are also boring and predictable. Like, the outcomes are easy to guess when it presents the whole setup within the first 20 minutes. However, I won't say that everything from these plots is bad. There are some elements that deliver something unique that can make the experience somewhat enjoyable. The Snowball plot brings out the most energy with all the chase scenes, and compared to the other two, gives the best excuse for the narrative to be in a movie, along with an unexpected message about circus animal abuse. Gidget's plot has credit for having some of the best jokes of the film, along with some good surprises, and Max's plot, well, it has Harrison Ford. The story wants to give the spotlight to some of their most prominent characters, but it seems to handle it clumsily as some of these animals. The animation. Although not necessarily noted to have the most revolutionary visuals, the animation of the first film does deliver some noteworthy moments like the photogenic views of New York City and exploring around from the point of view of the pets. In number 2, however, it doesn't do anything to top what it achieved before, or even do anything new to make this look special. Where its predecessor successfully captured the atmosphere of Manhattan, this film brings its audience to a farm, a cat lady's apartment, and briefly in a carnival with a circus. It doesn't even try anything new with the character designs to feature unique-looking characters. The most that it adds is a bunch of different animals that are either domesticated, found on a farm, or some miscellaneous offered by the circus. Even in terms of the character animation, it still stays consistent from before by keeping most of the movements down to earth and have the pets play around with their animalistic nature.
Woof, woof.
What?
Oh, I'm a dog. I'm wagging my tail like an idiot.
Oh, okay, dude, not cool.
At worst, it can get visually dull because of how it behaves like a very safe animated talking animals cartoon. But does that mean the animation should be looked down upon? Absolutely not. Even if it doesn't try anything new in a visual standpoint, the animators do make the most out of the materials they're given. Execution-wise, it is very well done with the characters behaving just like their respective animal, but also to have it fit their personalities. Also, like I said before, the chase scenes offer a high amount of energy capable of grabbing audiences' attention, and even if the backgrounds aren't impressive conceptually, they do give the characters a lot to play with in order to spice up their scenes, like Snowball at the carnival or Gidget in a room full of cats. For the lack of originality, this is far from the best. Heck, this is not even Illumination's best. But thanks to the execution, at least the animation tried its best. The characters. Of course, with a movie that has several stories, there would be several characters that have their moment in the spotlight. But do they use it wisely to offer a stronger new side of them that they haven't shown before? Well, not really, but that doesn't mean some of them fail. Let's start off with Snowball, who has completely changed from his maniacal anti-human nature and now acts like a superhero. But his bravery is far from a real one and mostly relies on the help of Daisy to save a tiger. Gidget is determined to rescue the toy of the love of her life and calls for the help of Chloe, a cat who shows literally no cares or emotions to anyone, to become a cat herself to show that she can retrieve it from a room that's flooded with cats. And finally, there's the top dog of the franchise, Max, who turned out to be the weakest of the pets. Because of the new kid, Max turned into the old trope of the worrying parent who was always stressed out and concerned about the safety of his child. While accompanied by his naive best friend Duke, Max's character arc is to learn how to stop worrying all the time and to be brave in order to do what's best. As for the new characters, they can't offer a lot since they're stuck in their one plot line. Like, who is the large tiger that behaves like an innocent child? Sergey is the evil circus owner, Daisy is Tiffany Haddish in a Shih Tzu's body, and Rooster is the tough farm dog that shows Max some courage. The latter is the best part of that respective plotline, but it's too bad that his appearances are not as prominent as the others.
The first step of not being afraid
No.
is acting like you're not afraid.
Where are you going?
So, are you scared?
No.
On one hand, the characters are written flatly where they offer little outside of their personalities to show who they are. And if the plots are not about them, the other characters are only there because, well, they were from the last film. But on the other hand, they do benefit well from a strong voice cast that is capable of bringing full life onto their characters and help make the humor often effective to give a good amount of laughs. Even Patton Oswalt did a great job as the new voice of Max, since the last one had to get neutered and now is in serious need of a muzzle. While the characters don't have much to offer in the writing, it's the performances of the actors that help give the pets their charm. Their lives may be a secret, but that doesn't mean we're missing out on much. The Secret Life of Pets 2 is a passable follow-up to the 2016 blockbuster. While it may feel dull and unoriginal at times due to its weak writing and poorly managed story, it did escape from being considered as a full-on waste of time thanks to its well-executed animation and great voice acting that helped give the movie at least some substance. The most I could recommend this to is for fans of the first Secret Life of Pets. That, or if you're a pet lover and want some lighthearted fun, then this can be worth a watch. Outside of those people, I'd say this is a rental at most as far as animated family comedies go. While it is far from great and got itself out of being considered bad, it ends up being a film that's as average as it can get.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. You made your point.